Yo guys, what is going on? Welcome back to another video on the channel. So today guys, we are back with some more FIFA 23 itinerary things to talk about, and I've got a video specifically today about players that I feel like are going to be the best in their, I guess, secondary or even like third positions. If you guys don't know already, in FIFA 23 there's no more like position modifiers. Really, there kind of is. You can modify a player to their other playing position. I know this is all very confusing, but let me give you an example. Before, in the squad building screen, you could make a player like Zakaria, you could make him a striker with position changes. You'd probably have to spend 20k. Now, these players can only go in full chem on certain positions, right? So you'd have to buy just one generalized modifier that would kind of move them back and forth between their positions. So there is a large value in this upcoming FIFA of players that have certain positions, and this would be for chemistry building in the beginning. So, look, at the end of the day, no matter what, you're probably going to move your team around in-game, right? Custom tactics are huge, but chemistry is very important. Getting every player on chem is very important. So, I wanted to go through. I picked out a lot of players today that I feel like are going to be really useful in secondary positions, and kind of explain why. And yeah, if you enjoyed the video, let me know with a thumbs up. And yesterday, guys, I dropped a video on the full database. I talked about a ton of cards, and this morning I woke up, I looked at the database a little bit more, and I realized I didn't talk about a lot of the cards that I wanted to talk about. So we'll be having more content for that. But I posted a 30-minute video last night. It was a really good video, so check it out. And today, we're going to be checking out secondary positions. So we start with Zakaria in the Prem. And look, really good card. 82 pace, 80 defending, 85 physical. I love it. Just for me, I wanted to start with him because it was rumored that he had a secondary position of center back, and it doesn't look like he does. It's only center mid, but yeah, I wanted to just kind of point that out. It's not really one of those players that's like ultra relevant for this video, but a lot of people were thinking that he was going to be a center back, and it looks like, you know, after everything has kind of come through and information has come in, it looks like he does not have the center back. But you guys can see, like, not every player who's a CDM or a center mid is going to have center mid or CDM as their secondary position. And this is going to be very important because you're going to have a lot of players that you may want to use in the CDM position and they don't have that secondary position. So this whole thing is going to be a very large learning curve this year, and we'll see how it goes. Now, we've got Nkunku, who can play cam and striker. I just pointed this out because I think from the squad building start of things, it's really relevant. You know, center forward is not really a position that a lot of formations have. You know, you've got the 4-3-3 with the false 9. I guess you've got a variant of like potentially even the 4-2-3-1, the narrow, you have all cams. So you'd have to really use that. I guess even the 4-2-3-1 wide has a cam. So this is really good that he's got cam and striker. It's going to give you a lot of flexibility in terms of where to put Nkunku in your starting squad. And to be honest with you, I can't stop talking about this card, so I'm going to move on because I've spent all my time in FIFA 23 telling you guys how meta this card is going to be, and I need to stop. Timo Werner, I thought this one was quite interesting. He's actually a striker in the Bundesliga, but he can play left wing, which I think is really cool. I think that the Bundesliga, like, outside of Kingsley Coman, you know, there's not too many left wings. And I also just think, you know, there could be some potential relevancy where you'd want to put him out there. I think if a striker or an attacker in this game has the ability to be like a left wing, a striker, or a right wing, it's going to be really elite for squad building. And it's super elite as well because there's not a lot of attackers that have this capability, right? So a lot of players that you pick up next year, you may be stuck with having to put them in that position. Not to mention as well, we talked about it yesterday, Timo Werner is going to be one of the better starter cards in the game. I mean, how could he not? He's got high attack positioning, his shot power is good, all of his you know, pace stats are great. So this is going to be a very dominant card at the start. Guedj, we talked about Goncalo last night, and he's got one of the craziest cards in terms of like other positions that he could play. Very relevant there. Left mid and center forward, so it's very similar to Timo as well. Now, what's not similar to Timo, and this is where it gets a little bit confusing, I believe that left wing, left mid, right wing, right mid, it's all different, right? So he can only play left mid, he can't play left wing, whereas Timo, if you wanted to use Timo in that secondary position, you'd have to go 4-3-3. With a player like Guedj, you'd have to go like, for full cam, you'd want to go like 4-5-1, potentially like some sort of wide formation with a left mid. 4-5-1 is the one that, for me, I think of the most. Maybe 3-5-2. But also, this is a player I wanted to point out because I think he's a really cheap card for starter teams, and I think he's going to be really nice to have. And I think not only this, right? You've got the three potential positions he can play. You've got the 4-4, and then all of these stats, right? And this is going to be a huge reason why he's very usable because he's going to be cheap, he can have good stats, and he can play a lot of positions. And that's going to be very important early on. Emre Can is one of the coolest ones. I feel like, you know, this guy can play center back CDM. That's awesome. And also center mid. I think he's actually built the most for a CDM center back, which is great. And anyone that's trying to use him for a starter team, he's only going to be a couple thousand coins, I think. He's never really that many coins. He was a little bit more than that a couple years ago, but I don't see Emre Can being crazy expensive this year. But this is awesome. I feel like it's so cool that you can actually use him as a center back. Obviously the pace split, not crazy ideal. Like 67 acceleration is just not really what you want. But other than that, it's a really good card. 80 pace, 82 defending, 87 physical. It's pretty much what you would want in a starting CDM or center back. And I think what's really unique about Can is that he's got 86 strength and 88 stamina. You're just not going to find that on a lot of gold cards at the start. Llorente's really, really awesome. Reason I say this is that he could play right back in game, and that's going to be really relevant. Even right mid potentially. Don't sleep on 88 pace to the start. It's very, very good. And Llorente in FIFA is a player that just plays for the badge. He works really hard. He's always one of the most meta players early on. I can't see it being a different story this year. I don't know how it would be because this card every single year plays well. So 86 short passing, 81 long passing, 90 sprint speed, 82 agility, 81 interceptions. It's a great card, and I'm very much looking forward to using him. And I think that he's got a usage in all three of these positions, right? You could play him as a 3-5-2 right mid. You could play him as a center mid in game. You could play him as a right back. And why these secondary positions are so relevant is that even if you start Llorente as a right back, it doesn't mean you have to play him as a right back, but it could help you get him on chem. If you wanted to use Llorente in the midfield, you wanted to start with a 4-back and swap to a 3-back. I think that's going to be super easy to do this year because of secondary positions. If you get players that can play all these positions, I think it's going to be really helpful and just easy. Whereas last year, sometimes when you want to kind of move players in game or use another formation, you don't really end up using players you want to use. There's always a weak player or two in your team. I think that's going to be a bit different this year. So if you can find players with good secondary positions while we're pointing them out, find them. Jota, left wing and striker. Again, I love this. And I actually really like how EA, for a lot of the center forwards, is giving their secondary position striker. I think that's very important. Very important because, as I said before, there's not a million formations here that you can use a center forward in. If we go to Squad Builder and you guys take a look at this, you know, most of them are striker. You've got the 4-3-3. I think it's the false 9, right? Which is probably the 4-3-3-5. Yes, you've got that version. You've got the 4-4. I think I don't even think the 4-4-1-1 does it. Okay, the 4-4-1-1 does it. 4-4-2 doesn't. 4-5-1 doesn't. And then you've got these other formations where 4-3-1-2 is still a cam. So as I said, it's a very large rarity. So having that striker is going to be huge. And I've already mentioned last night, I think Jota looks like one of the best cards in the game. This one is like so awesome because this has been something like for so long people have wanted. And at least with the team of the year and his special cards towards the end last year, EA was giving him 5-star weak foot. So you could basically do it. You could swap in game. But I just love how you could start Cancelo as a left or right back. It's up to you. I love that. I think that's awesome. And we see Cancelo changing positions all the time. And he's so good. So very much looking forward to this card. 4-star, 4-star. I think he's going to be so good in game. Obviously, the downside with Cancelo is he's a little bit weak. But I will take that stat of low strength all day if it means that my player can dribble and he can dribble really well as a fullback. So nice to have Cancelo being a left back and a right back. I really do enjoy that. Mbappe as well. This is also very important. He's going to be the most meta player at the start of the game. And you can use him as a left wing, which is nice. It actually takes me back to his, if any of you guys remember, his FUT birthday was a left wing in FIFA 19. Don't know how many of you guys remember that or not. But yeah, this was actually a FUT birthday left wing. It's like, I feel like it's like the last time we had Mbappe as a left wing. But he used to have some special cards out on the wing. Less now, but yeah. All right, Timber. I just mentioned this because I thought this would be kind of interesting. If you had a player that you wanted to link with him, and my example was like potentially like St. Juste or just a really fast center back that had bad defending stats, what you can end up doing is starting Timber as a right back, moving him in game to center back. I don't know if he's necessarily a right back, but again, 82 pace at the start. It's not too bad. Diaby, this is so cool. He can play any position on the wing. That's like, this is beautiful. And that's going to keep his value really high because a lot of people are going to be trying to use this guy. You can use him with left mid, left wing, right mid. And yes, he only has 3-star weak foot and 4-star skills, but you know, maybe you want to use Diaby on the right because you want to use cut and finesses. Maybe you want to use Diaby on the left because you want to do, you know, cross goal power shots. That's up to you, but that's what's really cool about Diaby. He's going to give you some flexibility in your team. Dybala, simple cam and striker, but this is obviously a very, very important card early on. He got a little bit of a pace downgrade, so again, I think he's going to be more affordable. And he's, you know, at Roma, which is a little bit harder to link in FIFA than Juve always. This is going to be an awesome card, cam or striker for Dybala. Love that you can use him as kind of like that base cam, because I think that's literally what Dybala's card is perfect for. He's got 84 acceleration and 90 dribbling. I mean, that's just, it's a beautiful cam. It really, really, really is. All right, next up, we've got Paqueta. This is in the Premier League. Paqueta's like playing in real life, always a ton of positions. So this one's pretty cool. You can play center mid and center forward. I think that's dope. Center forward is cool because I think Paqueta should end up getting some promo cards throughout the year. He's 5-star, 4-star. He's just a very like popular card. He reminds me of, he's kind of taken over the role of maybe a Tall in FIFA, where EA is just kind of giving this guy promo cards now. And yes, he's very good in real life as well, but he always finds his way to be getting newer special cards. And he had a very good FUT birthday last year. He won a couple Player of the Month. So 5-star, 4-star with the ability to play anywhere really centrally is awesome. This is one of my favorite secondary positions, Foden. I just think this is so unique, right? Because Foden is very similar to me as Dybala. It's very important that you would use a player like this as a center forward or a cam. But what's really awesome is that you can swap them in game, right? So you go 4-5-1. And what I always think here is, like, if you're doing all these swaps in games, right? You could start Cancelo as a left back. And then you could put Foden, you know, left wing, left mid. And you could start to kind of narrow in a couple players from, you know, potentially City, trying to get these 3 cam players, wherever they are in the team. But that's awesome, right? 88 dribbling, and you can move him in game to a cam, which is pretty much where he belongs. He's got 86 acceleration with 91 agility, 91 balance. It's a phenomenal card for Foden. And anytime Foden this year ends up getting that first promo card with the 4-star skills, no, 4-star weak foot, he's gonna be crazy. So can't wait for that. We've got Correa here. I just think it's interesting. Like, I don't know if this one for me is one that's like very relevant, but I just pointed this out because I think it's interesting that he could play right mid. It's like kind of random, but it's cool. We'll take it, right? We'll take it. And if you're actually thinking of traditional sense of FIFA cam, it would actually be sick because you could play Llorente as a right back on a secondary position and Correa as a right mid on a secondary position. But obviously, that's kind of all in the mud. That doesn't really matter anymore because obviously now you got to get 33 cam, and we'll do a video explaining all that once we even understand what we're talking about. Thomas Lemar, he's actually a center mid this FIFA, but he can play left mid or right mid. But I really just point this out because I think that this is such a good card. Lemar has been fodder for so long because he's been out on the flank and his card has not been fast. Whereas now, like, he's got amazing dribbling, and he had a special card this year that a lot of people used and I thought was really good in games. So this is going to be an interesting one. It'll be interesting to see if people use Thomas Lemar this year. I think Zaniolo is like up there for having one of the cards the most secondary positions. You can play him out wide at right wing, right mid, 87 pace, and you can also play him as a striker. So pointing this out because it's pretty cool. 4-star, 3-star still, and 6'3", but interesting. I think Sterling is going to be one of the best players. It's really interesting how you can't play right mid. You can only play right wing. So left wing, left mid, and right wing. You can't play him as a right mid, but still, nonetheless, pretty good. And for me, I would still prefer Sterling as probably a right wing, just because I like players, unless the finesse meta is like very prominent, I like playing players on their like strong foot side for the cross goal crosses, or, you know, whatever that might be. All right, we've got Daniel James, and I've kind of figured out overnight why this guy was so popular, and it's because he's got a lot of positions and he's in the Premier League. And, you know, if you think about a starter card, the fact that you can move Daniel James to a striker, he's got 96 acceleration, 95 sprint speed, and he's got 83 agility. It is pretty nice. So I can understand, you know, why this guy right now is very popular. I think Davies' card is really cool because he's really fast and you can play him as a left mid. So I really look at Davies being like, with the 4-star, probably like the best 3-5-2 left mid you could start with. I think this card is amazing. 87 dribbling as well on Davies' card this year is no joke. You've got Leon Bailey. I've already highlighted him for you guys as like a cheaper option, but can play either side in the Premier League for the starter teams, right wing and left wing. Base right mid card, but this is awesome. This card looks amazing. 85 agility, 93 acceleration, and yeah, can play both sides. Zaha, this is going to be really cool. You're going to see a lot of people using Zaha as a center forward, I think, just for the fact that, you know, if they get in a formation where they can use a center forward, I think people will go for it. And I just think Zaha is going to be a really popular card at the start next year. Zaha's got something very unique with his card, that he's got skills, but he's also got high physical, and that's very unique in FIFA. Mane, this is dope. Again, kind of wish that some of these players with the secondary position was like a striker, not just a center forward, but you'll take it. And anytime you can move somebody centrally, you'll take it. Mane looks really good, obviously. Simon, I wanted to point him out because he's 5'6", 4'4", with 90 agility and 92 balance. and you could play him as a striker, and that's awesome, right? You can get a League One team going. League One, look, the thing that's interesting about League One is like you could either go really expensive with all those PSG players, you could also go very cheap and get these. I used to use like I forget who I used to use a couple French center backs like Juku, and I used to use that was my starter team every year. I had Owar, and you can go really cheap in the League One. There's some very good players for you can make a a 10K starter team, and it's amazing. We got Marcus Rashford here. Left wing, left mid, and striker. This is now Rashford has been significantly downgraded this year, but I still think there's like a lot of value here. The fact that you could play him as a striker. So this did really interest me still, even though I know he's got quite a terrible card compared to previous years. But I still think it's great that you can use him as a striker in game. And yeah, I thoroughly enjoy that. So yeah, guys, I just pointed out some players today that I thought would be really useful in other positions. It's actually very interesting that a lot of the players that are available, I guess, in secondary positions are players that are pretty much like better players anyways. You're not seeing a lot of the lower rated players. I guess players under 80 have a lot of secondary positions. So it seems like it's one of those things where I don't know if EA was lazy or if EA just kind of went through and said, you know what, we're going to give the players who are actually used a lot secondary positions. But regardless, thanks for watching the video, guys. I appreciate all you guys, man. We'll see you guys later. Peace.